Now, ladies and gentlemen, turn on your ears and open up your heart because you know dating each other out here today is definitely a fine art. So, to get us off to a great start, please welcome the one and only dating mechanic herself, Miss Alasha Bennett.
In today's episode, we're talking about love in the digital age and navigating online dating successfully. And we have my guest here, Brett Key of Date Jar, and you won't want to miss this hot convo that we're about to have after this quick word. Don't forget to pick up your Dating Mechanics Ice Line, intimacy, connection, and energy with our massage candles, cream, body spray, and our melts. Pick them up at Amazon or on Instagram. So I'm here with Brett Key, and we are going to talk all about dating in the digital age because Brett has a unique dating app that focuses on creating memorable activities and experiences for potential daters. And he also has a card game, Date Cards Volume 1. So I'm so happy you're here. I know that we connected before, and we will do some things again because we have some things in the works. But just introduce yourself. Tell us what you do, your company, and what you're about.
Okay. Well, you really gave me a pretty nice little summation right there. But since we family, my whole name is Bretton, but everybody just calls me Brett. Outside of that, I am an entrepreneur full-time. I'm also a proud member of the Air Force Reserves, a family man. And basically everything boils down to just my passion to connect people and to champion better connections generally.
Okay.
So my job or profession is Date Jar, and as well, like I said, IT consulting. But overall, what Date Jar does is literally a path for connectivity.
Okay, got you. And it's so interesting because you're married, right?
Yeah, I'm separated actually, and I'm going through, divorce.
I said that like that was a good thing. It's not. Well, it could be. I'm not going to.
It happens.
It does happen.
Yes.
So this is interesting because I thought coming in here, I'm talking to because my next question was going to be being married. What would cause you, or what would make you create a dating app?
Well, no matter what stage of your relationship that you're on, there is a common plight or issue that people have, which is figuring out ways to sustain that connection, to keep that spark alive, to ignite it, so on and so forth. So the epiphany came actually from the low point of the split, but also when I was rediscovering myself, I noticed a need where I've never seen anybody have any problems with their relationship from the abundance of great quality time and having fun and doing different things. And from my friend circle, other people I know in relationships, that kind of seemed to be the commonality and the common thing. Mm-hmm. So from that, it just helped me to kind of craft a solution with, one, my nerd background. I literally had a jar full of ideas that I was just keeping, especially during the COVID time frame. And one day it hit me like a lightning bolt from some conversations in a group chat of mine. And ironically, the group chat is called The Married Men. And it's my friends and so forth. And we essentially had the same, kind of the same issue where it's like things were kind of stale or having issues. And the common thing was nobody was doing things for fun like they used to. Or it was just like the same stuff. You're doing the same playbook. You're going to the same restaurants. You're doing the same things, but you're not really connecting because you're not taking the path to discover something new about your partner.
Absolutely.
So that's where it was born.
Which is a great story. I want it to have a great ending too. Like I want all of the date things that you do to spark that passion. I understand that, things happen in marriages and sometimes it's just time to go. Like it's really time to split and do our things in separate ways. We grow and we change, right? But for your story to be, hey, I'm the dating mechanic. So, of course, it's all about dating, and it's all about keeping it fresh throughout the relationship, not just at the beginning of the relationship, but being able to be in relationship with somebody and say, hey, we need to make sure that we're having regular date nights so that our intimacy can stay up, that we can connect on a regular basis, because the hustle and bustle of the day and of the week and of the month can really take a toll on family and relationship, and not being able to have that that constant connection.
Yes.
So yeah, like I said, this is a great idea. When we talked about it and you told me about it, I was like, oh yeah, this is something that I would want to be a part of. So tell us a little bit about the app and what it does.
Okay, so the app itself is My Date Jar, which is for basically figuring out what to do. I'm not asking you a lot of questions. I'm not querying you. Literally, think of it like a digital jar full of ideas, and it's like you're shaking it up, picking something, and I'm giving you a path to make it happen via a description on like what to do step by step, or I'm connecting you with the location or spaces that will allow that to happen. So it's very minimum effort, time saving, and as well it could be as well cost savings as well. And it just gives you the path to whatever level that you are in your relationship. Again, whether you first met someone or you've been with someone for a number of years, it allows you to shape the experience based off of your relationship.
So in the app, gives us place to go? Is it like geographical? So I put in my my zip code or where I live, and
Not quite. It actually just enables, like with your GPS, you say allow, and so it's going to let you know what's around you, and it's going to categorize it. And then again, from the experience list and things that I have, you'll be able to let's say for instance do axe throwing, for instance, and you'll click axe throwing, and then once you go to axe throwing, it'll show you what's axe throwing near you. And,
I got it.
And there's also as well, it also has the element of showing you events that are in the local area. So like, for instance, like last night was like the R&B block party. So for instance, stuff like that, I would love to have and make sure that it's like shown in the app, and it will let you know, no matter where you're located, like whatever's going on around you, it'll let you know. Yep, it'll let you know.
Yeah, that's great. I think that it's needed to be able to create an app, and eventually I hope the app will be able to actually connect people, and maybe they can go out on dates based on the places that they like, and then rate those places if they're good for dates, if they're not, right?
Yep.
That would be really, really awesome. What do you think some of the challenges are on these other dating apps that you're finding?
Well, when I went into this space, I went in very, I would say kind of naive, because really my app itself is not a dating app in the sense of matchmaking, but it's again from a entertainment / event planning side. But I was thinking that the way how I differentiated it would be enough to say like, oh no, I'm not trying to hook you up. However, I realized the overall challenge and issue is that dating apps as a whole have a negative stigma attached to it. And the reason why is because of just the level of, when you say dating apps, people automatically think of hookups and nothing that's sustainable, nothing that is meaningful. It's rare to hear somebody have a story where I met my love of my life off of like a Tinder, a Hinge, Bumble, so on and so forth. There's 1,001 apps. So the really issue is that fundamentally dating apps are designed wrong. And as well, not even just the apps, but some of the services that some they offer. And the reason why it's fundamentally wrong is because they're not actually addressing the person. You can scan a profile and you can say, height, weight, kids, no kids, religion, affiliations, whatever, great things for a match. And if you put it together on paper, it looks like we should match. The issue is that it doesn't take for the accountability of if this person can hold a conversation. It doesn't take into the accountability of if this person has the right mental state to even be in a relationship. Or perhaps it doesn't even look at the level of like how long, like what was their longest relationship, and where they are in their lives. And the simplest thing too is like, are they even fun? Do they even know how to date, which is a skill set. Going back a moment ago on what you were stating, I feel like dating is a never-ending thing. It should be equivalent to how people think of like exercise and hydration, stuff like that. It's like it should become something that's part of your lifestyle. Now, granted, life does happen, and so I'm not advocating and saying that you have to like date or go out with someone in the same vigor and cadence, but long as it's on your radar and it is actually something that is intentionally planned or done, it should lead to the right results. So again, dating apps, and really the problem and the crux of it is that it doesn't account for what really it takes for a relationship to thrive.
To actually work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I would have to agree with you on that it's not, and we won't even get into the fact that people are up there, either scamming or they are being untruthful or, what we're not seeing on dating apps is people being real. And maybe it is because the right questions are not being asked to feel these people out.
Right.
And then, like I said, people are not being truthful. Like, what are the reasons why you're dating? And there's just so many reasons that people are dating instead of dating for marriage or longevity or whatever. Some people are out there just dating for fun and they just don't want to have a long-term relationship. And so there should be like some pools, right? There should be some different pools that dating apps have that is just like, I don't want to be in a long-term relationship. This is just what I want. But I guess it's a catch-all, right? So,
well, dating apps are not really designed for you to win. Think of it like this: if they were, they would have been out of business, or it would be a really short-sighted business model. Because think about it: if you went and subscribed and you were using the dating app, and then you did find, the love of your life, then why would you need a dating app? Like, if I subscribe to whatever service, within 2-3 months of using it, I found the person that's for me, and that was it. Well, what are you going to do there?
That's interesting. I've never heard it said quite that way.
It's the case. And then as well, people don't realize that really dating apps is really what they're after is your data. Most dating apps, they sell a lot of your trends and so forth, which is why you see certain ads, why you see certain things come up and so forth. You're kind of feeding the machine.
Yeah.
So that's where dating apps itself. Now, from a step that you just made is that a personal philosophy I have, and I think which will lead to more success in dating, is that people should strip down these levels of expectations. I'm not saying to not date without a purpose. However, date for the fun element. The goal of dating, and which is even why it's considered like a courtship phase or early, is to kind of figure out early on if you are a match with someone. The thing about it is, you ever heard that old expression, the same things you did to get them is the same thing you're going to have to do to keep them?
Absolutely.
So why would you stop something that allowed you to attract us and gave you the runway to have that relationship? So therefore, again, dating apps as a whole, this is why I say fundamentally, and the concept of it is a little bit off. The premise of it and where it's trying to go towards is spot on, because a digital means and the technology to link people in an information age is awesome. I mean, come on, you can find maybe your perfect match might not be in your local area. They might be in another state or neighboring area. And outside of a dating app, for instance, you may have never discovered them.
Correct.
But on the flip side of it is like, are you even ready? Like, the thing that most dating apps don't really do is that they don't really ask a questionnaire about a person's perspective.
They don't prepare.
They don't prepare you.
They don't prepare.
They just take your money, or they just take your time, and you're swiping, or you're going through whatever means to connect with someone, but it never inventories you as a person. Like where you are in your life, where you are in your career, your values on your family, your mental state, your mental health, your exercise and dietary habits. It's like dating apps and services would be 10 times better if that before it asks you about the generic profile stuff, it actually talked to you. And if people were honest, and as well, we all, have our personas, our avatars. But if we actually poured more into taking that hard look, you will find that God, the universe, or whatever you subscribe to will pull you to those spaces or that person that you need to be around.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully, and I don't know if you plan on expanding your app, right? Oh, yeah. But hopefully you will be able to add those things in it. And it's so crazy, when things come out, just like when the internet came out, you have your good and your bad, right? So now we're in the age of AI, right? There should be a dating app that can field questions based on your answers.
Yeah. I mean, there are some services that kind of use like the personality test and some psychology, which I think is awesome. Those things definitely should be taken into account. But overall, like I said, from an experience perspective, again, they go together. So another reason why I made the app and what I'm doing is because these dating services and apps that are for matchmaking are literally realizing that, wait a second, in the next maybe 3 to 4 years, people aren't going to use these services in the way how they're currently designed. And they need to transition towards the sustainability of relationships. How do you sustain relationships? Pure quality time. You have apps doing partnerships with, like, for instance, like Open Table, or you have, like things that are kind of linking you towards like a TripAdvisor, or, people who are focusing the aspect on like a destination, like, meeting somebody through the level of, going on a mini trip and things like that.
Right.
All awesome things. But again, to take it a step further, it's the sustainability of the quality time that you have. It's the intention of that. And that's where I'm trying to meet. And
Right.
people.
What's being done in the time that you are actually spending together.
Correct.
And I think that is great. A lot of companies have come out with cards,
Right.
but you also have cards. So tell us
Yes.
about the cards and, what people would do with them.
Yeah, so I envision really being your end-to-end hub for all of your like fun needs, again, from a relationship or friendship or, just whatever relationships you hold true. The context is that I realized that conversation is a dying art as well. It's sad to say I'm talking to you fellas that you guys are trash at talking. And I'm going to
He called y'all trash.
Yeah, I mean, and then for the ladies.
I'm about to say on the
Don't
ladies
worry,
level.
it's equal opportunity. And for the ladies, sometimes y'all can get a bit boring or one-sided in your conversations. Again, this is from my own personal experience. I'm not speaking for everybody. But at the end of the day, I wanted to do something about that. And so I created this game really out of, it was really designed to just be more of a promotional thing, when I first started, just to help people talk in some spaces. And I realized I had something because when I had first created this, it just went really well. And it gave people some really great ways to open up conversation. A lot of work went into this game. There is some psychology, and it's essentially 3 levels. One level is introspective questions with a theme on music and art.
Okay.
There's no right or wrong answer. These are things to like, what song do you think you can sing word for word? To what's the last song you listened to repeat. Talks about your, art preferences and things like that. But then as well, it does have trivia. The trivia is special because you can use any kind of medium, like your Alexa, your Google, whatever, to find the answers. And you'll see them when you find the answers. It should spur conversation because depending on the source you use, the answer is going to be a slight difference.
Okay.
And it's used to kind of open up a channel and to kind of make like a spider web of conversation. And then the last part to it is dares. And the dares are nothing more than just friendly things. And they go from things that are kind of like, PG to things that are a little bit more like, okay, if you really were with it,
Right.
this is for you.
We're going to push the envelope.
We're going to push the envelope a little bit. But again, these are nothing that's designed to get anybody in trouble or anything
Right.
like that. But it's really designed to pull people out of their comfort zone, give them a really simple way to have better conversations, and essentially just unlock new levels of knowledge, no matter, again, where you are in your relationship.
I love the connection aspect of it. I love that on all 3 of those levels, there's some type of connection. All I heard on level 2, all I heard with Alexa and those types of things is scavenger hunt. That's what I heard. And to me, those things are fun. And so if we have to look for answers for things and compare, and, I love debating,
Yes.
that's a whole
Yes.
thing. So,
Yes.
You found this source and I found this source, and, the English language is like you said, trash, right? And so deciphering through that and words meaning different things and all of that. I deal with this all the time on social, media, where people are, they're using these words. And anytime I'm in session with couples or singles or whoever, and they're using these words, any words they're using, I'm saying, okay, well, what does that mean to you? Because it may not mean the same to the other person. That person may have grown up, like, my mother didn't want me to say the word nasty. Oh, that's nasty. Oh, that food's nasty. Like, that was her whole thing. All growing up, I could not say the word nasty without her saying, don't say that word, right? Because whatever happened in her childhood or life, whether her parents told her don't say that or whatever happened to her, that word is not pleasing to her ears. But I have no problem with the word nasty, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny when you say stuff like that. It kind of makes me like, what are the other bars of words that you couldn't say? Because that's pretty like,
Right. So
really
it's
low,
just, but I'm
so-
pretty sure everybody has words their parents were like, don't say that, you
Yeah,
know. But it's coming or stemming from somewhere else. So whether their parents told them not to say it or something happened to them and that word just does not resonate with them. Right. And so, but understanding that and knowing that about someone and where they come from in their background, like I said, once again, you are creating a space of bonding and intimacy and people really getting to know each other at the core level.
Yes.
And in order for a relationship to have a great foundation, you want to be open, you want to be authentic and create that level
Yes.
of bonding.
Yeah. I'm ideally, I just, from what you described, you kind of gave me a great term or phrasing to put it. But I want people to have their own date diet,
Date.
Diet.
Okay. Date diet.
And again, this is just a level of regularly figuring out and planning, and to have, like I said, again, the cadence of it all. You point out some really great things about the fundamental differences between people and their upbringing and their mentality and everything, basically, that makes them who they are. So essentially, we need more things to kind of break those barriers and to find them out sooner. Really, dating also has a level where, again, you do want to maybe advance the relationship and you want to get to the next step. But again, it should be the hard conversations, the things that are not so, front facing. That's what you're looking for. Just like when they talk about, you really don't know a person until you live with them and things like that. Again,
Or go on vacation with them. Look, you don't even have to live with them. Go on vacation with them and see how they are.
Yeah. So those things that I don't fully answer that level, maybe not this particular stage. However, there is room, again, to figure that out. And I would love to have and be on the right side of history or those different stories where people are using what I do or what I'm about that has been, ways to keep their relationship thriving or find new relationships from very benign situations.
Well, I feel like this won't be your last card game. I
there's
feel
more coming.
Right. I
Yeah,
feel like there's more. So
yes.
as you develop more, you'll be able to really dig deeper into and what people should be asking, the questions that they should be asking, because I'm telling you right now, they're not asking them. It's interesting to me how I'll ask someone, well, are they single? And they go, well, yeah, I think so. They approached me. No, are they single? Like, did you actually ask the question? And then they'll be like, well, no, I didn't ask. I just assumed. And there you go. And then when that person tells you, oh, well, I'm not single, I'm married, or, whatever the case may be, and you're surprised. Why? You didn't do your due diligence in asking the right questions. So we have to make sure that we are actually asking questions. We're getting the answers that satisfy us, because sometimes people can just say anything, or they'll say what they think you would want to hear, or they'll say just enough that you'll be satisfied with that, right? But really having more deeper conversations and learning what questions to ask and when.
Yeah, it's a two-way process. Again, for as much as you're asking for information on this other person, it's really about inventorying yourself. I'm a huge advocate of, again, you can't ask for anybody of things that you're not doing yourself. You can't look at these people on a certain level of expectation. And it kind of goes into, the top 5% of men. And this almost kind of touches a little bit of like the late Kevin Samuels perspective, but it's fundamentally is true, which is really look at where you are. And then from understanding where you are, you can understand your options and your game plan for dating. If you don't do that, you're always going to be in a failed state. You're going to hit the roadblock or the walls of meeting the same kinds of people over and over again. You're going to meet the roadblocks of feeling like you're having these long droughts where you're feeling these long lonely spells. And then as a result of those lonely spells, you are entering situations that are not really becoming or not really meant for anything longevity. So again, it always goes back to, no matter what, pouring into yourself and looking and inventorying yourself. Again, people, ladies want a guy who are very popular but not too popular, super handsome but not to a point where they feel like they got to fight.
Better looking.
Better looking. You want a guy with a certain salary, drive a certain car, a certain background, all these different things. But where is the same consideration for, is this person has the same values? Do I live those particular values? Am I actually a person in my career? Like I'd be very remiss if a person from a dating perspective was like, I can't date you because you're not making six figures. That's a standard. But I'm like, what do you work? Well, I work at FedEx at the copy machine, and I'm like, oh, okay. So, what do you make an hour, or what are you doing?
Right.
Like it's a balance. It's a really weird time we live in as a result of the information and dating and technology. Is that there's a really big false narrative on what it means for people to have successful relationships or find people. So therefore, it creeps into our reality. And again, we set unrealistic expectations on people who you might, again, swipe left or swipe right on, and they may not, let's say, be 100% visually appealing, but far as from an inside and other factors that are important to you, they might meet all those criteria. But how do you don't even give them
How
a
do
chance?
you know?
Yeah, how do you know?
Right.
So again, let's go back to the fundamentals of it, the level of dating and going out to have fun, which is, hey, I enjoy this activity. Even if you wasn't around, I would like this activity.
Yes.
And therefore, I'm bringing you into this activity, which is also saying I'm bringing you into my world. I'm letting you in on a glimpse of who I am, and with the expectation of maybe understanding a glimpse of who you are. And then to reciprocate, you do the same for that person. I'm going to bring you in my world. I'm hoping that you will enjoy it. And then therefore, we can establish a connection. That is the fundamental thing of what dating is and what it should be.
And people have to be willing.
Yes.
Like if somebody wants to show you who they are, be willing to take that risk or be able to go on that journey, because the whole relationship is the journey.
Yes,
right?
it is.
And it's okay if you don't like something that someone likes. They're just showing you them.
Yes.
And so now, are you going to accept that this is them?
Yes.
Or are you going to reject that and say, this is not for me? And that's totally fine if you reject that and say it's not for me. But did you even give it a chance?
Yeah. Things that, like, I like how you phrase that. We should also get into that level of asking the right kinds of questions that goes beyond a certain level. So, for instance, in that, what you just described, we should be asking the questions of, like, how do you handle your triumphs? How do you handle your lows? How do you handle the disappointments? When was the last time, you felt like you were where you wanted to be in life? Where do you feel you're heading in the next, 3 to 4 years or 5 years? Or could you see yourself as being a good parent? Or things like that, and that level of questioning versus us just saying, like, what do you like to eat?
Yeah.
It's fine to do that, but I'm just saying, like, there needs to be that balance with that gives the level of intentionality with also being in the moment. You don't want to interview your partner or potential, or even somebody who you've been with for some time. You don't want them to feel like they're under the Bud Light hot seat, kind of.
Well, isn't it just, it's all an interview. It really is an interview.
It is.
But we just don't want to make it seem like you're putting somebody in the hot seat, right?
Yep.
You want to have a conversation. And I think that we are terrible at having conversations and being able to push a conversation forward to where we want it to go. Finding out the information that we truly want to find out. I think a lot of times daters don't even know what they truly want. And so they are unsure of what questions to ask, period.
Yes.
Because they're unsure
Yes.
of where they're trying to go. Like you said, no, if you're going to ask the question, what do you see yourself doing in 3 to 5 years? Well, what do you see yourself doing in 3 to 5 years? That person should be able to also ask you that question, and then you be able to answer it for them as well. So it's not just, I'm looking for this and I don't plan to be any of that.
Right. And you kind of actually touched on another element that's really important too. So a lot of women always look at guys from a level of potential, and look at them like, oh, I see these different things versus what they really are. So if, again, you're asking these level of questions and this person is not showing, like, let's say, hey, they're really happy and they're content with their position and what they're doing, and they're not actually really ambitious or want to, move to another position in that, that's fine. But if that's not okay with you, that needs to be said. Now, the difference is that, again, some people don't recognize the fact that, again, from a dating perspective, it does not has to mean that we're going to walk down an aisle or it's for a long distance. It's quality relationships. The older you get, the number of quality relationships diminish. Your friend circles, have their own lives. People have health issues. Some people may pass away. There are all kinds of factors that goes in between. So the goal of it is the quality of relationships. If you pour in and recognize the quality of that relationship, then it will allow you to know if this person can be for the long haul. And that's what we all want. We all have that fundamental need of just, wanting to be accepted. We don't want to be alone, and we are not meant to be solitary creatures. But what we also are not meant to do is to try to force and push on to others, the insecurities and the what's the word I want to look for? The ways that, I'm not sure what word I'm looking for. I lost my train of thought on that one. But basically you get the gist of, you don't want to make these people feel like they're not enough. You don't want them to make them feel like, they're not adequate, or the fact of these particular elements you were like settled, for something. And that's not the case. Is you meet people.
I don't know. Don't we all settle?
No, we don't.
We don't?
We don't.
I hate when people say
that. I really
This
do.
is such an interesting conversation.
No, we don't
I think
settle.
we all settle.
No, we don't.
What do you mean?
We don't. You triage. You don't settle.
Explain.
Simply is that you rank the things that are your non-negotiables and so forth that are important, and then you go from the must-haves to the like-to-haves, right? Can you agree to that?
Okay. But isn't that settling?
No, that's not settling, because you're itemizing, because who you are now is not who you're going to be 5 years from now. Who you are 5 years from now is not going to be the next 5 years. We are ever changing, ever evolving people. It's not a such thing as settling. If this person was good for you then, technically they're good for you later if the right things and mechanisms are in place to keep the balance in your relationship. So the level of settling is a false thing. You settle, or you frame yourself as settling, if you know that you're compromising something that's large on your must-haves or what you need, and you're taking a person that you know that has something that has a huge gap or void, then that is settling by definition from that. But as a whole, people who have these longer relationships or sustaining relationships, they're not settling at all.
I don't know that I'd agree. And it's okay that we disagree on this. But I kind of disagree. I think that we all settle for something that, like you said, it might be something that we want, right? But something else outweighs that. And it doesn't necessarily mean that other thing was high on the list. It's just that we kind of prioritize and we switch and we change as to what is really important to us.
Yeah, the bad thing when you're framing that, and I get your point exactly, is that you're saying that you're settled, but you're not taking to the accountability of what your partner sees. So, for instance, you're telling this person that I want you to, let's say, work out more. I want you to work out more. Fitness is important to me. I need to see you working out more, okay? So this person may be able to, may not. But when you first met them, maybe they had a really great physique. So what you're really saying is that I want you to have the physique or a certain level of a look or maybe a health quality that you had from before. That should be the more communication of it versus you feeling like you're settling for somebody who is just like doesn't care about their self-image and not set up for what you're trying to do for them. Because at the same token, the level of what you're doing and what you're describing, it could be flipped around. And maybe this person could be like, well, I don't like to be around somebody who's in the gym, 5 days a week. I want somebody who's home with me for these particular times, and the priority shift. So that's why I'm a little bit opposed to the context of when people say settling, because it goes both ways. And it's really checking in with each other to know what your needs are, because they're going to change. And if you don't have that conversation or the tools to even make that conversation possible, then that's why again, I can see where you can, like I said, by the definition would say, oh yeah, I'm settling. But if you've never communicated that expectation or that need, or if you knew from the jump this person never could be in that range, then yeah, you have nothing to say for this but yourself. You settled. But as a whole, people who are in really good relationships, it's I call it triaging, because you're going to recognize the things that are most important, and then, if it could be, for instance, most important, has to be God-fearing. If they're an atheist or something like that, then yeah, that could be a hard sell.
That would be a hard settle.
Exactly.
That would be a hard settle.
Exactly. But I know people who've been in relationships
that
and
have
have that same
Yes.
dynamic. And that's what I'm
Yes.
saying. It's just like, so when you say that kind of level, then yes, that is settling because you know for sure that is a high item, an important item to you about who you are and what you believe.
Right.
And then as well, you're willingly accepting a person who doesn't fall into that criteria. But if you never communicate it, again, that's why I'm like, because settlement is just like the same word as consequences. It's like it has a kind of a negative connotations, but it's not supposed to be.
I think we do that to a lot of words.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Submissions. We do a lot. We do that a lot, and that's
exactly.
why I think that goes back to the point earlier of what does that word mean to you? Yeah. Because it can, and I'm glad that you explained settle in the way that you did, so that because there's somebody out there that feels the same way, and we have to get into the regular, making it standard that we are asking our partner, well, you said this, but what does that mean to you? Because I know what it means to me, but for some reason we're having a breakdown in communication of what that actually means, right? Yes. So I think
Yes. So one thing I like in that, how you framed that too, is it kind of leads me to another thought, but it's on the same topic. But I've heard people use different mechanisms for this. One that I think is awesome that I like a lot is doing like a check-in with each other where you schedule kind of like a sit down and you're really just, over a glass of wine or whatever, atmosphere or setting. And then you're literally having this kind of almost like it feels like a performance evaluation, so to speak, where you're checking in to figure out like, what am I doing good? What am I doing, bad? And,
Absolutely.
And if you can get to that level of conversation and that level of authenticity in your relationship, again, I feel like you're set up for success. It's like,
absolutely.
After the magic kind of fades away and real life hits in, or better yet, even in the earlier stages, like because even from a dating, you have a plateau. Like there's a high point that you're going to reach, and then after that, it's hard to touch that high again or to even beat it.
It'll never be the first time again.
It will never be,
right?
These certain moments and memories, they become inside jokes or they become, lasting things that are tropes in your relationships. But the thing is how, how do you sustain, and that's the level of what I'm referring to from that.
Yeah.
So, believe it or not, the divorce rate is the lowest it's been in 20 years. But do you understand why it's the lowest it's been?
Why do you feel that is?
Well, from the data and statistics on it is the fact that people aren't getting as married and they're not going down the aisle in the same ratio and rate that it was before. Reason being is obviously, again, the society and the world that we live in. Things have changed so much. You can look at it from whatever standpoint, economical, social. You can look at it from so many different levels on why people are not going to the aisle in the same rate. But the one constant thing is that relationships and people finding each other is increasing. So it's kind of a weird dynamic.
Yeah. It's very interesting, and it's so funny because I do have a statistic here about dating apps. 12% of the couples who meet online get divorced within the first 3 years of marriage, compared to 2% of the couples who meet through like friends or family, right? And then it says it jumps to actual 17% and 10% after 7 years. So 17% that they're gonna, get divorced, and then, it's very interesting. So first of all, whenever I talk about statistics, I'm always weary of statistics because it's being shaped for the narrative of the person who's actually doing the statistics.
Facts.
Okay, yeah. So let's just be very clear about that. But being able to look at these statistics and then say why. Yes. Why are these things the way that they are? Yep. I'm really hoping that we get to a place, like when you get your app, we get to a place where we're really digging much deeper into maybe with the assistance of AI, but we're digging much deeper into how dating goes. This was a great conversation.
Thank you.
Like I think we could talk, all night, and go back and forth with this.
Yeah, there's definitely
I would love to debate with you about different things. Yeah. Like I love debating. Like it's just there's no hard feelings at the end. No, you know what I mean? It's just I love knowledge, and I love to hear different perspectives and people, say how they feel and why they feel, because I'm just forever learning. So tell us where we can download the app, where we can get the cards.
Okay, well, the app is available right now on both iOS and Android. Really, like I said, we have these major updates that are about to drop in the next week and a half, 2 weeks.
Very
and
good.
I'm so happy about that because once you guys see it, it's gonna blow you away. And then if you want to get the cards, they're available right now on Amazon, easy to find. You can look up Date Jar or Date Cards Volume 1. You get them on Amazon Prime. And yeah, that's how you can find those.
I am so happy about that. And of course, because it's Black History Month,
Yes.
go out there and support a Black business.
Yes.
Like all the things. Okay. Be sure to connect with me at The Dating Mechanic on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, and definitely on YouTube. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you can get the ding when all of the episodes come out. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to, like I said, subscribe to The Dating Mechanic on all of the social media platforms. Comment, follow, share, help a sister out. And just know that your support helps and grows us and keeps me being able to bring you some great content and some guests. Also, if you would like to advertise on the show, be sure that you email info@thedatingmechanic.com. That's info@thedatingmechanic.com. Thank you so much, Brett, for coming and joining me. Date Jar, go get it. And we'll see you next time.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, turn on your ears and open up your heart because dating each other out here today is definitely a fine art. So, to get us off to a great start, please